Hi, Mr. Andrew here, and today we're going to talk about x and y intercepts. So before we really get started with this slide, we actually need to discuss what they are. So what is an intercept? So here's a graph, and right here we have our x and our y axes, and we have a line graphed in red. We have y equals 3x minus 3. Now we have another video to show how to graph lines by substituting in for x and getting your y value, or vice versa if you wanted to. But here we're going to discuss the x and y intercepts. So when I say x-intercept, I really mean where it intersects, when it intercepts the x-axis. So here, right here, this is where it hits the x-axis. The x-intercept is where it hits the x-axis. So here we count over from the origin. We go 1, and then we go up and down 0. So this is the point 1, 0. The important thing to note here is this 0. This will always occur for the x-axis. On the x-axis, we have moved up and down 0 places, so the x-intercept will always have a y-coordinate of 0, and that's important. We'll discuss that in a little bit. But for the y-intercept, the y-coordinate for it is, well, I go left and right 0. I move on my x-axis 0 places, so I lead off of a 0, and then I go down 1, 2, 3. So it's down 3 or negative 3. That's the point for the y-intercept. The important thing to note here is, again, a 0. We moved left or right 0. We moved nowhere on the x-axis. We just went straight down. So it will always begin with a 0. Okay, so graphically, it's very easy to find your points. Just make sure you put the 0 in the right location. Count left or right first, then up or down, and then you can pull it right off the graph. But let's discuss how we can find these points algebraically. So here, let's take that y equals 3x minus 3, and let's work it out algebraically. So here, y equals 3x minus 3. Now if we want to find the x-intercept, as I said, would have an x-coordinate and a y-coordinate of 0. Well, if I look at this, the y-coordinate has to be 0. I can plug in 0 for y. I can plug in 0 for y. So here, I just replaced my y with a 0, and I have 3x minus 3. Now I have an equation that I can solve, a two-step equation. So I add 3 here, because I want to isolate the x, and I'll do my addition and subtraction first. I'll add 3 here. Remembering addition removes subtraction, or a negative number, I would like to think as. So here this is removed. Here 0 plus 3 is 3, and this equals 3x. Okay, 3 times x, so I divide off 3, do the opposite, and all I do to one side, do to the other. 3x divided by 3, well, that's just x. And this is 3 divided by 3, which is 1. So my x-intercept is 1, 0, just how it was on the graph. Amazing, right? Okay, now let's grab a new sheet of paper and let's work the y-intercept. So the y-intercept, let's still write down the equation. Y equals 3x minus 3. Okay, well, the y-intercept will have an x of 0, as we discussed earlier. So I know this is going to be true already. Well, again, we just plug in 0 for x. So y equals 3, and now I plug in for x instead of y this time, because I'm looking for the y-intercept. It's something a little bit opposite. If you're looking for the y, you plug in for x. You plug in 0 for x, actually. And the vice versa is true for the other intercept. But here, y equals 3 times 0. Well, y equals, let's go ahead and work that out. 3 times 0 is 0, and I'm left with minus 3. So here, my y equals negative 3, just how it was on the initial graph. So here, negative 3. Okay, so that concludes our lesson on x and y intercepts. If you'd like to see more examples, just email me. Thank you.